global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. We're so excited to have you again. Please, if you're not subscribed to our channel, kindly hit on that red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish our videos. All right, we're looking at the update on that $22.7 billion loan that the federal government, precisely Buhari-led administration, was requesting from the Senate, was seeking the approval. Senate had approved it, and fairly recently the Federal House of Representatives have approved it. But looking at the details of the loan, that's how the loan will be expended. All the six geopolitical zones, or all the six geopolitical zones, have a portion of it, except for the southeast. And it generated a lot of controversy in the Senate because most people had believed that what had happened is a clear indication that the Southeasterners were no more wanted and they were being discriminated against. As a result of that, the Southeasterners have decided to take a drastic action against the federal government. The Igbos are contending that the exclusion amounts to a breach of their right as enshrined in Section 42, Subsection 1, Subsection 2 of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution as amended, and Article 2, 13, 19, 22, and 24 of the African Charter on Human and People's Right, Ratification and Enforcement Act, Cap A9 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, Article 25, Subsection C, and 26 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights 1976, Article 2721, Subsection 2 and 22 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. They also allege that indigenes of the Southeast were being discriminated against by virtue of the conduct of the president, who they allege discriminated against them on the basis of their ethnicity, political opinion, and place of origin in the distribution of the project accruing from the loan of $22.7 billion. A fundamental right enforcement suit filed by Aku Maduwuba on behalf of the applicant Okoro Nkemakulam specifically sought for an order of court declaring the decision and action of the President Buhari to the exclusion of the applicant and the entire indigene of Igbo ethnic group comprising Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo as illegal, null and void. The applicant noted that while indigenes and diverse ethnic group of Southeast, South-South, Northeast, or Northwest, and North Central were all captured in the loan, the Southeast was completely left out. The applicant alleged that $200 million was allocated to the Southwest, $4.2 billion to the South-South, $6.3 billion to the Northwest, $300 million to the Northeast, and $6.5 billion to the North Central from the $22.7 billion loan for developmental projects to be cited in the zones for their benefit. He also sought, and I quote, an order of court directing the first respondent, which is Buhari, to include the interest of the applicant and other indigene of Igbo ethnic group of the Southeast, comprising of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo, stating in the share, allocation, and distribution of projects with respect to the $22.7 billion loan sought by the President and approved by the National Assembly in accordance with the provision of Section 42, Subsection 1 and 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, as amended, and Article 2, 13, 19, 22, and 24 of the African Charter on Human and People's Right, Ratification and Enforcement Act, Cap A9 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria. An order of injunction restraining the respondents from further proceeding with or continuing with the disbursement of the sum $22.7 billion loan sought by the President from allocating or executing any project to the benefit of indigene and the various ethnic groups in the Southwest, South-South, Northwest, Northeast, and North Central without the inclusion of the interests of the applicant and all other indigenes of the Southeast of Igbo ethnic group of Nigeria, comprising of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo State. The suit, which is supported by a 50-paragraph affidavit the post by Uche Joy Ihioma, a law office secretary in the chambers of Nkem Okoro, has been assigned to Justice Taiwo for abjuration. All right, that's the news, and those are some of the details of the lawsuit against Buhari and also the Attorney General of the Federation. But looking at this, it's really not good. My colleague is here and we're going to talk about it. What do you have to say about their exclusion? I mean, this is not good at all. This one, we've got to be real about this, because the truth of the matter is, with what is happening, they have almost, I call it a legal right to demand for cessation, because it's as if they are not contributing any quarter to the growth of Nigeria. Yeah.
But if you look at the way it was set up, when this whole thing came out, I think we actually brought it up in our channel. If you look at the way the whole thing was set up, you will just realize that it was a systematically drafted exclusion. Because if you check it all out, this is not the breakdown. The true breakdown, you can check it in our feed.
Okay.
They took their time and broke down the project step by step, federal and state level, what each state will benefit, each state, each region. That means that's to show you that each state you may likely benefit this, then regional wise, this is what you benefit. But in the southeast, it was so specific, zero. It's so bad that they will say, okay, this state is going to do this project, which is a national project. They could not call it a federal project, okay, which is going to benefit the whole federation. But very systematically, Imo, Abia, Ebonyi, Anambra, and Enugu were excluded. Does it mean these 5 states do not have any federal project? Yes, somebody will say, after all, they're doing second Niger Bridge. What is wrong with the South is benefiting from the 22.7 billion, $7.8 billion loan. Initially, when Senator Baribe, questioned this, I think it was the only vocal senator. In fact, he insisted that he would like to see the breakdown. Subhead to subhead.
Remember
how it was
demanding that he wants to see it.
Lawan was making noise that this is partisan policy, that is busy, that he should have the interest of the country at heart, that he should make this thing fast and all that. He said there's nothing wrong with it. As the senators of this Federal Republic of Nigeria, we need to know how this, as if he had full knowledge of what was going to happen.
Exactly.
They did the thing, nobody knew. At the end of the day, by the time the thing will come out, there was an outcry. The Green Chamber, which is the House of Rep, we thought was going to do better. They said, no, we're going to halt it. And the next thing, during the COVID-19, it was approved. And still the South is neglected. Now you now see why sometimes when Mazi, Nnamdi, Kanu and the rest begin to say that they do not belong here, people say, no, why is he talking like this? When you say one Nigeria, this should be proof. Yeah, they keep saying the 5%er group. It clearly shows that this one is not even 5%, this one is 0%er. Because there's nothing to show. Let's be real. If you say these guys belong to Nigeria, then every project, mind you, the funny part of this whole thing is that when the repayments will come, all taxes will go to even both the southeastern region. In fact, they may likely pay more. Because in Lagos, Lagos generally gets a high tax rate. Yeah. People who do business the most are the Igbos. Yes. And they're the ones that pay the highest tax. So the repayment may likely come mostly from them. Exactly. So you now see that whether they like it or yes, they are among the repayment schedule.
I think that if they push up or continue with this stuff, that's this lawsuit, I see a success, because if any rational lawyer or rational judiciary will see this, nobody. That's why let's forget about the issue of, it's the presidency they are trying to drag in here and all of that. You are violating their fundamental human right as a subunit of this country.
But my challenge is not that it's not possible. In Senate claims, very possible. Some people, like in Ghana, you can actually take a suit against the government and you win the day if you have your facts and figure. The challenge you have is that in Nigeria, everything is possible.
Now, the question...
the payroll, now who is going to... Now, if case not take itself on the judgment, the judge that will be sitting on that case may be handpicked by the federal government themselves.
Oh, whether it's handpicked by the federal government or handpicked by the federal... Tell me the legitimate reason why the federal government will scale through. Now, number one, let me just, because these guys are going to come up with their own very reasonable and rational. And guess what? If this kind of a thing is published, and Nnamdi Kanu and those pursuing the cessation of the Igbos from Nigeria use this tomorrow against us, they have legal grounds why they should get out of this place. Now, first of all, just like you rightly say, who are the main guys who are doing business in this country? It's the Igbos in Lagos. You may be thinking that, oh, you're trying to fix Lagos state for Lagos people, but who are the people who are going to contribute most to the payment of both the interest and the principal of this loan? Is actually the Igbos. Go to the south, a lot of them pay huge tax. I think one of the revenue lines for the federal government, apart from the oil stuff, which Imo State is included in it,
yes.
Inclusive.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
also the internally
also
inclusive. It's
Anambra has not done it in commercial quantity.
Yeah, another way that they get all the monies from the state is internally generated revenues, which Imo State will pay their own. Everyone from all the geopolitical zone, the state that makes it up, they are going to contribute. So, on what grounds? Why did he exempt them? Yeah, you could be saying Second Niger Bridge and all of that. We are talking about a particular loan that came in, except you're going to use the 5.5 because immediately the Federal House of Representatives approved that loan during that heat of COVID-19. They approved the loan. The federal government again came up with another loan of $5.5 billion. And they also approve it, except you are going to slate that for them strictly. Said, well, we couldn't accommodate you guys in this one. But hey, there's no such thing. And they have every right for them to react the way they are reacting.
Now you're talking in sinner terms. We are now talking practical Nigerian terms now. Please hold on, hear me out.
Okay.
Now you said, yes, you're right. They have the legal right. They have the backings of the law. Very correct. But we know the government of the day is still being, the judiciary are not really independent in the true sense of the word. Which means even if they can't have their way, that's the Igbos having their way now to win the government, the federal government, they can keep adjourning this case. They will adjourn it. Something that should take maybe like 6 months, it will take like 5 years.
Till they've
until the loan is being disbursed.
Even if you adjourn it, one of the principal I'm not a lawyer, so I may not really know how to use their terms very well. But I think one of the things that they demanded that nothing should be done. So what would be placed is
more like a lien.
They'll place a lien on this money. We can't disburse. Okay, you've gotten the money from wherever you're from, Exim Bank, from China, you put a lien on it until this case rolled to the end. Disbursement is impossible. And you have to take into consideration, judiciary also must take into consideration that there is a timeline for the repayment of this loan. So if they don't start using the loan now, automatically it's not going to be fair enough on the part of Nigerians for you to use our money to repay the loan when you never use those money as at that time. So automatically the federal government need to come up prepared, and guess what? These guys are also prepared for them. So it's a case of them going back to their drawing board and seeing how they can include these guys, cut down on some of the projects that you are planning to do in the north, and bring them in so that all of this should stop at a point, because it's getting so uninteresting. These guys have legal ground to bring up this.
Well, let's see how it goes, because this is federal government against the Ndigbos, and this is one of the legal grounds, like my colleague had rightly said, that Mazi Nnamdi may even present to the international community
exactly
to show why they should secede.
Exactly.
Or why a referendum should even take place.
Yeah, that's where we're going to leave it. Go to our comment section. Let's interact. Please stay off saying wrong words. It's not productive. Let's be rational.